And welcome back to the podcast, everybody. This is Nick Kubik, and that's John Quaddy. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just have energy and a voice for the first time in God knows how long.
You're not back on the diet pills, I hope.
Well, I never got off.
Maybe you should stay off the diet pills then.
Yes, John, how thy freedom.
Hi, everybody. It is nice to see you all. And if you can't see us,
coming back, or are we going to restart?
Hear us, and we are speaking with delight in our voices because we get to hang with you.
There you go. You came back
45 seconds ago. Where did I go?
You froze.
I did not.
You did. You froze-icked McFroserson.
And you did a
I did frozen or froze.
Okay. Well, whatever. I unfroze. I think it's your. I think it's your. Oh yes, it is. It shows red on you.
It shows red on you.
Yeah, it does. It shows
That's a little. It's a little dot on the top that says "actual recording" goes to the.
It does say that. Okay. Yeah. Hi, everybody. We should start again. Hi, welcome back. It's like we were on vacation or something.
Anyone would expect anything less from us.
That's true.
Excuse me.
Welcome to PoddiMouths.
Welcome to PoddiMouths.
It's just PoddiMouths.
Cheers.
And why do you listen? Because I can't believe two guys could suck that bad.
That's true. Listen to PoddiMouths.
It's about to
happen. Let's talk about how much things suck. So you might disagree with this, but I like to think that I'm an eternal optimist because I really do look at life and say, I'm a Minnesotan. It could be worse. Have you ever heard that joke?
No, let's hear it. All
right, so this Minnesota guy, he went to a bar and and he's just had a rough day, and his wife left him, his mom died, his dog ran away, he just got fired. And I mean, the guy's life couldn't get any worse. And he sees his buddy and he sits down at the bar and his buddy asks him, "So man, how's it going?" And he looks at him, typical Minnesota fashion, said, "Could be worse." So, but in essence, I take that and I try to take things in stride. And yes, I have a very tight knit group of friends where I will complain, John being one of them. So he probably doesn't necessarily think I'm an eternal optimist, but
I do.
That said, leading to my week, well, not my week, part of my week. I mean, things that have happened. I actually had a very good week, but so you probably noticed the television behind me, right?
If you're watching, if you're listening,
if you're watching,
I have
a television behind you.
I should do that. I should just be like how they always have the person doing the
traffic control.
The people doing the for the deaf folks, what the hand signals,
sign language.
I swear,
not in sign language. You don't.
I do not have the words I used to be able to rattle off.
Well, you're probably starting to get influenced by my lack of English language.
My lack of
Exactly.
Sign language. I need to do sign language stuff for people.
You really do.
Except it'll have to be audio because they can't see you. So
right.
Nick is now talking about a TV which is behind him. Okay.
And what's on the TV behind me?
Behind Nick, it appears to have pictures that are rotating, mostly of your lovely young daughter.
That is correct. The one that we've got, it's split into two. Well, now it's switched.
Not anymore.
Now we're looking at Chattanooga, but before it was Chicago on one side and it was somewhere else. Anyway, doesn't matter. So anyway, I have a TV behind me today. I bet
you're delighted if you're not watching us on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Well, I'm sure it could be worse.
It could be worse. I actually have two televisions behind me. I just have one of them is leaning against the wall. I actually managed to set this one up. So part of the not so good is we are moving out of Jennifer's studio. The best way to put it is the place is under new management and they don't want a dance studio there. And plus we were trying to cut the space anyways. So the fact that we just have to go is not a bad thing. We've not been happy with the facilities in general since we moved in. They're old. They're not well kept. And we were dumping a lot of money into a place we shouldn't have any.
You did so much work when you first moved in there just to make it inhabitable, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to a new space, but in the meantime, we're going to have to do some temporary accommodations. And part of that means we are taking some things home, which the televisions are one of them. So when we first started, we were doing everything virtually. So these televisions were in the studio and they had cameras on the top. I don't know if you can hear Clyde. He's rubbing his back on the floor and making noise. But we had these televisions with cameras on the top, so that instructors could teach through the televisions and still have a big screen. It was
if you're new to the podcast, Clyde is Nick's dog.
Yeah, Clyde is my dog.
I don't want people to think it's your neighbor.
No,
I don't know if you can hear, but the neighbor Clyde is rubbing.
Sometime I should have my neighbor come over. He's an interesting gentleman, but that's another story.
Yes,
a new neighbor. He just moved in about 2 months ago, month and a half, something like that. Anyway, so we brought the TVs home. That was the first thing. So I've got these TVs. I'm going to use them until we actually have
Why not?
use for them. And actually, we don't use them at the studio very much anymore because we don't do virtual classes. So we might take one or two to the new studio when we open, but one of them is probably going to be here. Well,
sure.
We are recording the Friday evening. And so after work, I ran over, got the TVs, brought them back, and I set this one up. My plan was to have the PoddiMouths logo on behind me because I just thought it would be kind of cool, right?
It would.
Well, I can't get my phone to connect to the TV to be able to get it up there. So I just started rotating photos of Peyton, which I'm okay with that.
What kind of phone do you have,
John,
Nick?
of course he's going to go there. Well, I have a Google Cast, what is it called? A Chromecast plugged into the TV, and I was trying to cast from my phone to the Google Cast, or the Chromecast rather.
What phone?
And I have an iPhone, and it was not cooperating.
Yeah. I see.
So
that's
should
not
be
an
easy,
Android.
but it's not an Android.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, because that'd be terrible. Can you imagine how easy it would work if you had one? Anyway,
exactly. So
we'd have nothing to talk about then.
We'd have nothing to talk. But that was one of the things. The other thing is, I went to pick up Peyton at school this afternoon, and I'm driving 80 miles an hour. Of course, 70 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour down the freeway.
School zone?
No, yeah, exactly, yeah. And Peyton had to try to get, because I had it's a really nice day here in Nashville, so I had the top off of the Jeep, and Peyton was reaching into the back to get one of the hats because her hair, her new hair, which is very short, is flying everywhere. She can't put it in a ponytail. Well, while she did that, and I don't know how she did it because she kept her seatbelt on the whole time. I don't know how she did, but she got her knee up, and I didn't see it, and knocked the Jeep from drive to neutral. So I lost all power, and I didn't see her do that. So I'm trying to figure out, did my battery die? Because I was on electric at that point. So I hit the engine button. The engine starts up, and I'm getting no power, nothing. And I'm slowing down on this freeway during rush hour, and I'm trying to figure out. So I finally pull over, and I'm looking. I'm like, this is bad. I mean, the thing barely has 13,000 miles on it, and it's breaking down on the side of the road. And I look down, and the shifter knob is in neutral. I'm like, shit. So that was my day today. So it's been busy. It's been fun. And there are a lot of other things. I'm not going to bore you, but I have a glass of wine. I have a glass of wine. So this is kind of it's not my month. This is my last month. I opened this bottle of wine the day before I found out I had COVID. Now, you probably wonder, that was a long time ago because I've had COVID and then I got sick again afterwards. So I haven't had a drop to drink since the day before COVID, which was my glass of wine.
This may be a lot more entertaining PoddiMouths than I thought it might be.
Oh, hell yeah. It's uber fermented. So, the nice thing is we have seals on here. I've got the bottle right here. We've got these seals on the bottle that you can pump all the air out. So that's what I did. So it's been sitting on the counter, but I was really nervous because I really wanted a glass of wine today. And so I opened it up, and it doesn't smell vinegary, doesn't smell bad, tastes just like it did before. So I lucked out there, folks.
Very nicely done.
That's, you know what? One of the names is going to be Whiny Wine.
I I like how you tell us what the names are going to be now.
Well, most people already know when they're listening or watching, but you don't know. So what the hell? What the hell?
That's true. I don't know. It's a surprise to me. Yeah, and we've seen those lids for, partially used bottles of wine, and they've got, some ornate ones and everything. And Lisa and I always joke that people would say, "Oh, would you like one of these stoppers for?" Well, what's that for? Well, in case you don't finish your bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's usually what happens at our house too.
Not finish a bottle,
right?
Of wine. Yeah, you didn't finish that, and then you got cocoa. So
I got cocoa.
Maybe if you would have finished it, cocoa would have passed you by.
We were talking about this. The cocoa came from a trip to Vegas. I don't remember if I had shared that with our
I think can I just say as an aside, people have been infected with all sorts
with many
of things
in Las Vegas,
a trip
but
to
not
Vegas,
cocoa.
I would guess. But okay.
Yeah. So so I just got done with a meeting with the same group of people that I was there with, and one of the other group members also got cocoa at the same time.
Okay. And you were in a meeting there together, right?
We were at a meeting there together. Yeah. And so the one thing that person and I had in common is while we did drink more than we normally do, we still didn't drink as much as a lot of the other people we were with. And so while my initial thought was maybe it's because I drank more than I usually do, it lowered my immune system, which made me catch cocoa. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was the fact that we didn't drink enough like everyone else to kill it. Yeah, exactly. So that's our running theory, and we're going to stick with it.
I think that's a good theory, and you should just hammer down some booze in order to...
What do you think I'm doing right now?
Make sure you don't get cocoa. That's not hammering. That's this gentle sipping.
It's a fine wine. It's a Pinot Noir.
Doesn't make
Which,
it
by the way,
fine.
folks, is my favorite red wine.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Buy us a wine. Maybe that will be the next thing.
I was waiting for. That's what I was going for. I'm glad you picked up.
I know you were. I like Pinot. It's light. And I prefer something a little more full-bodied, like a Zin or a Cab, I guess. But I also like a Syrah or Shiraz, which are both essentially the same.
It's the same grape. Really, it just depends on where it's grown.
Right, exactly. And the Napa one, oh my gosh. We went to Cake Bread Cellars when we were in Napa, and it was amazing. It's more of a farm setting than it was, this awesome winery. BV, if you do go to Napa, BV had a really nice tour. And that's a buttoned up operation. Cake Bread's a little more, I like their wine better, but it's more of a, seat of your pants sort of a feeling you get there.
Yeah.
They though had a Syrah that was unbelievable and priced quite high as well.
Unbelievably.
It was a believable price, but it was delicious and worth every penny. Very, very good. But yeah, that's probably my favorite on the rare occasions that I spend the money on a Syrah, because truly a good one starts at $40.
Yeah.
And probably goes up.
I mean, that's not unheard of anymore, especially nowadays. This is, before I get into this particular wine, you were talking about Napa. Have you experienced Sonoma?
Yes. While we were in Napa, or the same trip.
You did the Sonoma thing?
We went to Sonoma as well.
Okay. Which one out of the two, which one do you prefer? Not necessarily based on wines. Let me.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about?
I'm talking about
topography and
the overall feeling you get when you're there, the ambiance.
Sonoma.
You can talk about the wineries.
Sure, Sonoma's more of a town, and I like that. It's like a village where you have stores and things like that. So no, that to me is a
little bit more like a down to earth.
It is. It's a destination place, and there's a Harley store, I think, in Sonoma, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, there is. There is.
That we stopped at. So
that was
really cool. But I do like Napa, though. I mean, we went on a bus that did several wineries. I want to say we did like 8 wineries, which is why you get on a bus, because you do not want to drive after 8 wineries.
We did all tours when we were there.
And they were so cool, though. It was a fun time. And these were off the beaten path wineries. We did do BV, but that was the only one really that was recognizable. And we got to meet with the vintners, and they were showing us the difference between, the whites and the reds, and whites you should drink outside and reds indoors. And it was just really cool. And then of course there were meals paired with some of them at the end, especially. So anyway, I'm sorry.
No, we agree with you. We loved Sonoma more so than we liked Napa. Not that we didn't love Napa. Napa was fantastic. Some of our favorite wineries, and we did the same thing. We took several different tours, but my favorite one was the Jeep tour, of course. Jen booked me it was actually when I graduated from SC with my master's. So this was kind of a vacation and a celebration of finishing that. So that's why she got me. That was her gift to me for graduating.
Very nice.
So we went out there and did Napa and Sonoma, and the ones that stood out for us, there were a couple. Of course, Opus. I'd love Opus 1. That one's kind of that one's kind of a holler back to my stepfather, who absolutely loved Opus. And so I wanted so badly, if I was going out there, to go see the winery, and it was beautiful. I mean, and for those of you who don't know what Opus 1 is, it's a little bit higher end blend. It's not a single grape. All of them are blends, but their cheapest bottle is $150.
Yeah. But it's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And it's actually, I don't know if it's BV, but Beringer is one of the wineries that they pull the grapes from. So it's a consortium that brings, and if I'm using that word correctly, but
and there are several.
So that was But then we went to some others in both Napa and Sonoma. So we went to that one, which is big and grand and beautiful and castle-y like, and there were some that were like pole barns. You go in there, it's a mom and pop, small, just fantastic,
which are also very cool and
very cool, very
something
good.
So special about some of those as well.
And then the other one that I really Jen really enjoyed it, but she doesn't necessarily like the wine as much as I do. Beringer, so it's not Beringer, it's Beringer, and this one is an all organic winery. So they give you a tour, and unlike most of the wineries, when you're on the tour, you do the tour, they talk about everything, and then you go back to the tasting room and you taste. This one, you would go to different parts of the winery to learn about it, but then at every stop, you would taste that varietal, that grape, that wine. And I mean, it was so much fun. And right in the center of this winery, they had a whole bunch of trees and plants that they had planted to attract specific insects. Instead of putting insecticide everywhere, these insects would keep everything else healthy and away.
Very cool.
So I mean, it was a very, very cool experience.
Nice.
And you could actually, they even had holes so you could dig in and then see the layers of the dirt and how, so it was very immersive. And then my favorite, and if you ever, they have started showing up in Tennessee, some Tennessee wine shops or liquor stores. But if you get a chance, my very favorite is Beringer, Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
It's hands down my favorite white. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily a Sauvignon Blanc fan, but that one is just, so good. But Jen doesn't like Sauvignon Blanc, so we usually get 2 bottles and they sit there for a while until I'm ready to,
and it depends what the meal pairing is too. For me, it's, if I'm going to have wine, it's usually with a meal, and it's, not always, but typically that's the idea. And I got started the first, I was in South Carolina, and a friend of mine was buying cake bread, Chardonnay. So that's how I became aware of cake bread. We probably had, and he was there with a group when I first saw them. We must have had 15 bottles of cake bread Chardonnay.
Just a quick interjection here. Cake bread, I don't like Chardonnay. Chardonnay is my least favorite wine, period. Cake bread is the only Chardonnay I'll drink.
And that's that. Well, it's a if you're going to choose one, it's a nice one. It's
I will do
typically
Jordan. Never mind.
$35 a bottle.
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
I mean, you have to decide what you like. I like theirs because theirs is more like a Sauvignon Blanc, except it's a little fuller body, and that's what I like about Chardonnay. It's a little fuller, but that's whatever. I'm talking like I'm a wine expert. I'm not, but we are going to a wine bar tonight.
Nice.
Here in Port Charlotte, and it's some friends. A long story, but I'll make it short. A buddy that I've known for 40 years. He was in our wedding, and he just happened. He bought a house in the mountains in North Carolina, and in the town, they met this couple who he's a piano player and been an entertainer as long as I've known him. And these two also played at some bars and pubs in this town in North Carolina. He said, so where do you guys? Oh, well, we winter in Port Charlotte, Florida, which is where we are.
Nice.
And we summer up here. And he said, well, you got to meet him. And long story short, this guy, I keep saying that, this guy got us into this rental we're in by introducing us to a real estate agent he taught in high school.
Interesting.
So we just have made all these connections. Anyway, so they're playing here tonight in Port Charlotte. So we're going to go see them. And I think it was the 4th of July. We partied with them and played music and sang and all of that stuff in North Carolina. We went up to visit. So
that's awesome.
Just really good folks. And they truly are, their house is a mile and a half away from this rental.
Nice.
So small world and a good chance. So the wine bar, we'll see. I've never been there. It's kind of a small place as I understand, but we'll check it out. See how
Doesn't matter. Yeah. As long as you get a table and there's plenty of wine left over, why not? Not left over after you drink it, but wine left over after
we'll just,
what I mean.
Get a stopper and put it in
exactly. There. And pump it all out. Pump it out.
Wow.
So,
yes.
One other thing, and this is completely off topic. I apologize. Back to the other things. If
no apology.
Someone who is watching really looks hard. John didn't notice, and I'm kind of glad. But if anyone notices that I'm not wearing my normal glasses, I'm wearing a different pair of glasses. My good pair, my expensive pair, the ones that I normally wear, broke.
How did you do that?
I have no idea. I put them on this morning and I'm like, I poked my ear because it's on the backside. The plastic popped out. So there's a metal piece that's sticking out and I'm like, bonk. I'm like, oh, what the? And I had no idea. It wasn't like that when I went to bed.
The bowl.
At least I don't think it was. Yeah. Here, hold on. I'll show you.
Yeah. We got to see this.
Yeah.
Those of you listening, this is the good part.
You see that?
Oh, what the heck? I've never seen that before.
I've never had that happen before. But yeah,
if I were you, I'd just put a bunch of duct tape on it.
I couldn't find my duct tape. I was going to.
Good. Great minds think alike, and so do ours.
Yeah. Excuse me. Made me cough up some stuff.
Sorry, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's all right. It needs to come. It needs better in than out, I always say.
Okay, so let's talk. This is Tuesday, actually, as you're listening and watching this.
Yes. I'm in a car driving to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Well, obviously,
right now,
it looks like it. You should actually have a background like this when you're driving.
See, I am right here.
Drinking wine. That would be great. Yeah, that'd be fine. Well, that's why they have cup holders. So it's Tuesday. Have you voted yet?
I have not. Have you?
Yes.
So
I actually voted on, what is today? I voted on Thursday.
Good for you. Good for you. No, I have not.
No, they have early voting here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what states do and don't, but it was so convenient. Went by the Ford dealership and they
voted at the Ford dealership.
Yeah. They have
really
early
I was
voting
joking.
Signs. It was brilliant. And so they actually took like half of the showroom and they must have had 20 little voting booths in there.
Well, that's great.
So
that is a fantastic idea.
Thing. I thought so too. And they weren't obviously. Hey, while you're here, let's get the family and take a quick spin on a test drive. They didn't do any of that. They greeted us and were nothing but friendly and had the poll workers there. It was really cool. I thought.
It's all about marketing. Excuse me, we're moving into a phase of every business's lifespan, and we have to figure out how to best engage the customer. And it's not about that hard sell anymore. No one wants that hard sell. Young people, let's just say it that way, because I'm sure there's still few people out there that do appreciate that. They want to negotiate. They want not as much anymore, though.
But
most people
let's
just
say
want it to be easy.
Differentiate between the hard sell and being asked to buy. Because I don't think people mind that, and it's not it's how you do it. It's not so much do it. It's is it, are you hammering people? No, just ask the question, and if they say no, I'm not ready yet, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
But you have to give them something before you can take. We've talked about that for years. You have to deposit money in the bank before you can pull it out.
That's really takes it to a further point, which is relational selling. That's what it is today. It's not, you can do everything correctly, but outside the matrix, it's not a digital world. It is a bricks and mortar, face-to-face world that bolsters research that people do online. Exactly. And that's what's different about the buying.
And I guess, I don't know. See, my boss is a former English teacher. Mm-hmm. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris, what up, dog?
We actually had a conversation about irony, and I thought I had a pretty good grasp on irony, but he confused me a little bit. Yeah. So I may get this wrong, but the irony in what the statement that you just made was the fact that we actually utilize a business out there who started online, who found quickly that they had to have brick and mortar to be able to better serve their customers. 90% of their sales are still online, but that brick and mortar is there to help educate and help customers touch and feel. And I just happen to be wearing those right now. Oh, I don't know if you can. No, I'm not going to be able to see it. I can't see it anyways if I have my glasses off. But that would be Warby Parker. These are Warby Parker glasses. Mm-hmm. So is that irony?
Well, no, it's not. I would say it's not. And Chris can argue it. Irony.
No, he probably would agree with you. You guys are pretty much on the same page about a lot of things.
It's a little different. We'll let him provide the feedback.
The feedback,
but irony is
education.
a different thing.
Hopefully he won't fire me.
He's going to charge for it. But I think.
Well, no. So let me. Yeah. The irony I was going for was the fact that you were talking about the must-have of brick and mortar, and then there's another company that came to mind, and ironically, I'm wearing those glasses. So is that irony?
Not really irony. No, not really irony. Sorry. Yeah.
I used to have a good grasp on irony, and I guess I don't.
Until Chris talked to you.
Yeah. Now I'm. So you know
what teachers do.
So we made fun, and before the podcast, we made fun of John because he was struggling getting some words out. And I said, you're following in my footsteps. You're learning from me. After 4 years, you're starting to become a little bit more like me because I struggle with words all the time. If you can't tell, doesn't mean I don't talk a lot. I just struggle with certain words. It's interesting though. I didn't start struggling with words until college. And part of that was listening to the professors try to explain certain things about language. And both of my degrees are in communication. So, it's learning about how to communicate and best to communicate and so on and so forth. And ever since then, that's when I started having difficulty with words because I'm trying to think of the correct way of using the words and the correct phrases to use to, and I hate this word, but manipulate the situation based on what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And that's understandable. I guess sometimes ignorance is bliss.
It is. Absolutely.
If you're not worried about how it sounds or worried about what you say. And as I think my resume calls it a, otherworldly grammarian. I didn't know what else to put.
But is that grammatically correct?
Of course it is. Otherworldly.
Of course it is.
But I would say that, I'd rather be correct than having one person, doubt your authenticity or capacity if you are messing up in using a word in the wrong tense or the wrong
irony.
like irony. I wouldn't say that, but Chris can tell you about
Isn't it ironic? Don't
no,
you
it's
think?
not.
It's a little too ironic. And I really do think it's like rain on your wedding day.
No, it's not.
That's not irony.
Not ironic.
I know. See, I know that's not irony. I know that's not irony.
No, it's not. But what I was going to go to was building on the point earlier. A recent survey, and I can't quote it. I think it was I don't know if Cox did it or somebody in the automotive industry. 77% of consumers say they still want to visit a dealership before they consummate an auto sale.
Yeah.
And that's a huge number. And it doesn't mean they do that instead of online research. They don't. They do it in addition to, and a lot higher number do their, it's 94% or so I've heard that do research online. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they?
And that doesn't mean, so when you make that statement, and a lot of people in where I guess frequent or talk to people, they point to studies like that as an excuse not to use digital retailing in their process.
Oh gosh.
So that does not mean that customers aren't in the mood to go down that process or go through that process to a certain extent.
Yep. Let's
use Carvana as the example. And that's what we use a lot. And a lot of people look at that and go, you can buy a car you can do the whole thing online.
Sure.
Which is true. You can, but the majority, and I dare say the vast majority of people that buy from Carvana still wait until that car is delivered and they can look at it and they can touch it before they sign the paperwork.
Sure. Yes, it's not. They are not mutually exclusive. You have both the digital element, and you're not going to get the face-to-face if you don't offer the digital, because the digital is a representation of your transparency. If you don't offer the option for people to take it as far as possible online, you're not being as transparent as you might. It doesn't mean they all will. In fact, a very small percentage will. But that is your point of entry. Without having that, you're never going to get the face-to-face.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you're
I know
exactly
I'm preaching
right.
to the choir. I know I'm preaching to the choir. But it's true.
Right.
I think
Do I look like a choir to you? I'm more like a three-piece band.
But you have a wonderful voice. It's
it's back, sort of. I'm muting every once in a while to clear my throat.
And you're able though to smell and taste and everything.
Oh yeah, I have. Even when I had the sinus infection, I could still smell and taste.
You could have Ripple. You wouldn't have to have a nice wine. No, can't taste a thing.
That's right. That's right.
DJ Swan. Baby.
I have been able to smell and taste for quite a while. The joke that I've been telling people is I had 2 days of health, meaning 100% where everything felt good. I could smell, I could taste before I got sick with the sinus thing.
Jeez. It's just, and maybe it's this time of the year. I don't know. I
think it's a mixture.
I'm hoping that it doesn't become a massive thing.
And forgive us, folks, if we talked about it last week, but one thing I have been reading a lot about on multiple news outlets is the fact that, and a lot of scientists and a lot of doctors are saying, part of the problem is for the last 2.5, 3 years, we haven't been exposed to a lot of the bugs that we normally are exposed to. The cold,
that's a fair point.
The flu, because of the masks, because of quarantine, because of all of that. So we all have to build up that immunity back. So a lot of people are going to get sick, and they're going to get bad sick. And I'm not talking about hospitalization sick, but like me, you're going to have to rest. You're going to have to take medicine, and you're going to feel like crap.
Yeah.
But eventually that immunity will come back, and it'll be just like it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a great
cocoa
point.
is going to be weaved in there. It's not going away.
Yeah. Again, it's just another thing. I'm hoping it has been reduced to flu-like as much as it can be.
I think it has. I don't know if you saw this, but Pfizer is in test right now to combine the flu shot with the COVID shot. So you won't have to get two. It'll all be in one. And it's just your yearly flu shot, and it's going to include everything.
Yeah, there have been so many weird things going on with all of that. I would say that go ahead.
I was going to say, and to add to that, because of the research that they've done with cocoa, and cocoa is the same, similar scientist, forgive me for not knowing the exact, but it's very similar to the common cold. It's the same structure, if you will. Again,
if you look at Lysol cans, one of the things it fights against and kills is coronavirus. And it's been on there for forever.
Yeah. Before COVID. Excuse me. Yes. Before COVID.
Correct.
So with that, they've done a lot of research on trying to lessen. No one is saying, which I'm actually thankful for, no one is saying eliminate. They're saying lessen the symptoms of even the common cold, which they can fold into that once a year shot. They're never going to get rid of it. No one is expecting them to get rid of it, but their goal now is just to lessen the symptoms. And I can get on board with that.
I can if they can prove it. But when you say, well, thank goodness you had X because it would be a lot worse now that you've caught it.
If it was a lot worse, I would have been dead.
How can you prove it? Yeah, exactly. So whatever. And again, I don't want to throw it all out because, as we said last week, I have a lot of friends who were deathly ill, literally deathly ill with cocoa. So I don't want to minimize it, but
sure.
There are some things that it seems to me that there could be a little more transparency.
Absolutely. That
there hasn't been enough of that.
Especially it's nice. Now you see Jen's behind me.
I know. Hi, Jen. It's
not in real life. Those of you who are not watching,
her mini-me. So
yes, she really is. I know, with blonde hair and purple highlights.
Yes, she absolutely is. So TVs, back to TVs just for a second.
Yep.
Because as we're getting closer to getting into the house, and anybody who's been listening knows we're building a house and it's taken forever, and I still don't know. I'm hoping December by now, Nick. We'll see if that becomes true or not. I don't know. They are putting in the septic field right now, so that's good to know. Just when
is that under the pool?
No, I sure hope not. Front yard, but they dig this massive hole, and they put
you're serious about the front yard?
Yeah, I am. So, that's where it is.
Yeah, that I was really we had our house in Minnesota. We had to move the septic field from kind of the back, not by the pool, but from the back to the front in the front yard. And I was so worried about that. It never caused a problem. It wasn't an issue at all.
There's nothing negative about it. In fact, it's so deep under the ground where they are. I mean, they dug down truly 20 feet, maybe.
Oh, wow.
And it's or maybe 15, but oh my gosh.
Okay. Down to where the groundwater in your spring for your well is. Yeah.
Well, no well. We're on city, which is our county water, as it were. So thank you for the. We thought we were going to have a well. That was actually in the contract, but because of the proximity, we're going to be. It is nice. We're excited about that. So being on county water. Anyway, so there are the things that we're having to buy. The garage here at the rental is full of stuff. We've got light fixtures, and we have bar stools and other furniture items and so on. And TVs I still have to get. We have one. We need 1, 2, 3 more. So
you need 3 more.
Well, that we left almost everything at the house in Wisconsin when we moved, because the lady who bought it wanted all our furniture, most of our furniture, and TVs and everything. So we have a big one in the great room to get. There's going to be one outside in the lanai, and there will be one in the guest room. And
I want to be you for a minute, because my wife won't let me have. I'm lucky that she has to move out of the studio, because now I get some TVs I can move around the house. We only have one TV in the house.
Well, but you can watch on your computer screen and things like that.
Well, I can. No one else can. Well, I'm the only computer literate person in the house.
Well, that's ironic.
I was doing a very sarcastic look. Sarcastic look on my face. Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
That really comes out when people are just listening to audio.
That's why I was explaining it. I was
Jen
doing
doesn't
your
listen,
job.
does she? Jen doesn't listen.
Once in a while, she does. Usually,
does she?
It
When
only
you least
happens
expect
when
it.
I'm making an ass of myself. Yes.
So she listens every week? Oh,
Pretty much.
So easy.
That was pretty easy. I'd let you walk right into that one.
Wow.
I maybe had
Thank
too many
you.
glasses of wine. I don't know.
Half a glass. That's
Half a glass.
You're at
No, I've had one. I'm on number 2, but they're
Oh.
little. See, that one's only like 2 sips in, so I don't pour big glasses of wine.
They're little.
We actually have pours. Do you guys have pours? So this is what we would call a Jennifer pour, or is this a Mona pour?
Okay.
I don't even remember. So every family member has a pour because they all pour a little bit differently.
Okay.
So let's just say I'm going to pretend that this is a Jennifer pour.
Okay.
Then there's a Mona pour. Actually, no, this is a Mona pour, a Jennifer pour,
Oh, okay.
a Franny pour.
Oh, wow.
And we
That's
have some
pretty
other
good.
family members that are actually Franny would probably let's say Mona, Jennifer, Nick, Franny, and then there are a few other people that are up here.
I'm a Nick pour at that.
You're a Nick pour,
particular
yeah.
rate. That's typically what I would do.
But because this is my first wine since Coco,
yes.
I am doing Jennifer pours tonight.
Well, that's very nice. But you're doing a bunch of them.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm on my 6th Jennifer pour.
Exactly, guys. This is a great podcast. I love
That's
it.
awesome. So we're going with, and you're talking about the TVs with Jen. Lisa, in our condo, we had it was a great room. It was up on up on 4, and a huge wall. So I got a 65-inch TV. And Lisa,
that's going to be my next one, by the way.
she's just disgust 65 inches, and we had them in the house in the bar downstairs, and I went from a 50 to a 55, and it was great. But at the bar, you're sitting 8 feet from the wall, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
Watch football, and it's like, oh man, you got to sit back in your chair. But so the 65 was perfect because you could sit across the room 15 feet away, and it makes sense. Well, so now I found a 70.
Oh, geez.
For the great room in the house.
Nice.
But then you can see it from the kitchen, and
sure.
So,
but the
good price is
justification.
seriously, it's a 70-inch. I think this one's a Vizio for under $500.
What? Send me the link.
And I think it's UHD. It's a 4K UHD. Which is great.
Which
so
is
it's
all
not
you
a
need.
QLED or an OLED,
Right.
which are stupid expensive.
Yeah.
But we had a QLED before, and it was still $900.
You know what? I have an HD television from, I think, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And it still works. That's the one we have because my other one died. My curved screen, the one I spent a lot of money on, died completely. And it wasn't cheap when it was purchased, but it was free to me because I inherited it. And it was only sitting in the attic, and I put that out there. It's 55 inches. Heats up the entire room because it's
plasma.
Plasma.
And heavy.
But
plasma
very
heavy too. Yeah.
This TV behind me, I carried up with one hand.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a 40-something inch, but anyway,
awesome.
That one you need 2 people to carry. I mean, it's massive, but it has a better picture than even this one does.
Oh, okay.
Granted, this one was $200. That one brand new was $1,800.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
yeah.
it still works.
Yeah.
And it's still fantastic. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it'll work good because I know I mentioned earlier on the podcast that our split unit air conditioning is out. Well, now the heat's out on it. So it's completely dead. But it's nice because when it gets cold, we just turn on the TV and it heats the room.
Oh, sure. Nice idea. Well, it does too. I mean, they get that warm. They do. Incredible. Yeah,
it is.
My mother still has 2 in her big house, and it's oh my gosh, they're both and they're probably 50-inch ones, and they're heavy and they are hot.
And heavy. Yeah. I will. So my plan is to get as you were talking about is a UHD TV, just not an expensive one. We don't. Need
I do not
have.
I don't have that. capacity to visually, obviously this, I'm just going,
Yeah.
because they're amazing.
They are
if you
amazing.
Think back to the crap we used to live through. I mean, we had the floor console TV, 27-inch. I bought it. It was one of my first TVs that I bought. And it's this console and it's nice wood and 27-inch. I'm like, this is awesome. I've made it. And, colored TV. It's Now.
Exactly. Now well, and
way too sophisticated.
If I were still doing television and movies for a living.
Sure.
Okay, I'd spend the money because then I don't watch TV that much. I mean, I watch TV a lot, but the stuff I watch is YouTube. Yeah. I don't need a 4K QLED TV to watch YouTube. I really don't. And neither does my daughter.
Totally
if she wants to go into that stuff, then okay, maybe I'll spend the money. But until she does, no, there's no reason.
I'm hip. Well, and again, with the price on some of these that are just incredibly good right now, and the prices are great, we're putting one outdoors. And yes, it's Florida, but one on the Lanai. And that one is going to, I looked at several, and it's an LG, and it's $350 for a 50-inch.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. Sure, I can do that because you know what? Outdoors people go, outdoors it's going to get, it's going to get dirty and it'll go bad. And okay, I'll just replace it. It's $350. Yeah. So 5 years from now, when it goes to hell, okay, I'll just do another one. It's a lot easier because outdoor TVs typically run around $2,000. So okay, I've got 4 different TVs I can get for $2,000.
And that's what this TV that's in the bonus room right now. When I do finally bite the bullet and put a new TV in there, this one's going out on the porch. I mean,
why not?
It's 20 years old. Why not? 20 years old. It still does a great job. It looks great. It's a 3-season porch.
Perfect.
Yeah. If it dies,
it's gonna be awesome.
You want to know something interesting? This one has been fixed before. I brought a guy in to fix my curved screen and fix this one. And he fixed this one, the really hot one, for $75. And he looked at me and said, "You're better off with the curved screen buying a new one because it's going to cost you just as much to fix this one. This one can just keep getting fixed." He's like, "This is an LG. It's old. They've got millions of parts. $75 can pretty much fix anything in this TV."
Wow. Yeah, that's the hot tip for sure.
Yeah.
That's the hot tip. Yeah. Okay, Broham. Well, this has been fun. We got a lot of stuff done, I think, today.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not enough for our audience because they're just so demanding.
Well, they are demanding, but that's okay. That's what we like. Yeah, well, it's one of the many things we like about
one of the many thousands of things. John, I'm going to go finish and enjoy the rest of my wine.
I think you should. We need to continue our wine conversation next week because
we really do because I want to talk about the wine that I'm drinking and where I got it from because it's a fun one. The only just kind of preview it's called Naked Wines.
Okay.
You don't have to be naked to drink it, although that is definitely acceptable.
But on behalf of all the PoddiMouths viewers, I want to be thanking Naked Wine for not requiring you to be nude.
Absolutely, 100%.
So thank you for that, everybody.
It's actually kind of cool because you pay in monthly, so you don't. You can buy a case if you want, and it's it's pricey, and if you're a member, they're a little bit cheaper, but it's helping specific wineries. So they only work with specific wineries that they're funding with your membership, right?
Okay.
So I pay in $50 a month. But what you can do, which is what we've kind of done, I'm not going to say accidentally, but in Tennessee, you can only have a certain amount of wine shipped to you. And we've exceeded that number for the year. So right now I've got like $400.
2,000 bottles, you mean? 2,000
I've got $400 in my account right now. So as soon as January 1st rolls around, we start ordering cases until we hit that number again.
We're going to explore that next week because we have a lot to about
Yeah,
when it comes to that.
Yeah, we
Yes.
run out of wine really early in the year, but
No, that's a good idea. I like it. Well, that's awesome, and we will definitely revisit. So
that'll be
join
fun.
us next time for Wine Talk, because that's going to be fun. And don't let us forget, because
what's the accent for wine talk? We know it's coffee talk, but what's wine talk?
Yes. Welcome to Wine Talk. It has to be.
Well, you know what? We got to look at Gary
thing.
Vee, because isn't Gary Vee? He made all of his money talking about wine. So we'll look that up for you and get back to you. Maybe we'll get him to be a guest on our podcast.
Hey, that would be super.
Wouldn't it? All right, folks, head up to PoddiMouths.com, learn about all of our past episodes and everything else that we offer, which isn't very much, but it's
future
fun.
episodes on.
We should have future episodes.
Looking into the future.
Well, we do. We're going to talk about wine on the next episode. Learn all about it, not on the podcast or not on the website.
Most of our listeners and viewers know that chances are pretty good. They should start a pool to see if we actually do, because we'll forget.
Should they start a pool while they're sitting in a pool? Drinking wine?
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You've had enough to drink now.
Not enough. Anyway, folks, have a great week. We'll see you next week.
See ya.